Hello and happy Saturday, June 27th, and welcome to the weekend update with me, Student Alpha. I want to thank you for taking your time to watch this and to follow my technical analysis and ideas on trade plans as I try to educate you as I'm a certified research analyst. But remember, all trading incurs risk. You need to do your own due diligence. But what I'd love to have you do is to learn how to do this for yourself and see if our ideas come together. Let me know down there in the comments if it's working for you. You can always reach out. I have many different courses that I teach that can help you do this. So, without further ado, let's get into um, the recent information that's been put out by the market. So our past week's catalyst, we had sharp global and tech semiconductor sell-off, especially in the memory chips. A major rout began rather intensified around June 22nd and 23rd, led by memory chip stocks. Micron and its peers like SanDisk and Seagate plunged. Micron down 13%, and they had earnings this week, guys, with the Nasdaq dropping over 2% on June 23rd, and the Nas is the tech-heavy index. So we're going to be watching about that. I'm going to talk about a play based on that in the technicals. This spilled over from the Asian markets. South Korea's Kospi fell sharply. The drivers included AI spending concerns, profit taking after a strong rally, and questions about growth sustainability. And guys, several macro experts that I know are really, really concerned about NVIDIA cooking the book on the AI chips with offshore companies that are buying $54 billion worth of their chips but don't have a company and don't have a product. It's going to be interesting. It's the same stuff that happened in 2008 when the bubble burst. So I think the writing may be on the wall. We'll see. We had mixed flash PMI data on June 23rd. The S&P Global Flash readings showed manufacturing stronger than expected, but services were weaker, adding to uncertainty about the economic backdrop amid the tech weakness that I just spoke about. Weaker than expected new home sales came out June 24th, but resilient consumer data, retail sales and personal income. Retail sales rose a solid 0.9% month over month, and personal income increased by 0.7% in May, which was released on the 25th. These pointed to ongoing consumer strength, providing some offset to other mixed signals, supporting broader market resilience in spots. So I don't know. You as a consumer, how are you feeling? Let me know down there in the comments box, guys. Geopolitical developments and falling oil prices were also a catalyst. Progress or de-escalation signals in the U.S., Iran, Israel related talks led to declining oil prices. We will cover oil. Uh, Brent crude hitting its lowest level since the conflict began on the weekend of February 27th. This created mixed market impacts, relief on energy costs, but lingering uncertainty. And as of to this evening, the latest news that I watched, um, everything's going well, but even Vice President JD Vance said that if they don't agree to all these terms coming out of these meetings, we're going to go take the Strait of Hormuz and we're going to bomb them to smithereens. So smithereens, if you're a foreigner, to ashes, right? Um, I don't know. Still uncertainty. Next week, Catalyst, we have June's non-farm payrolls will be on Thursday, July 22nd. We have ADP private employment report comes out Wednesday the 1st. Big companies like Nike have earnings. We have JOLTS job openings, May data, and then consumer confidence for June coming out this week. And then we have random Fed speakers and policy commentary. And really, the markets may move on that actually, depending on where they're at with a rate hike. Is there going to be a hike? A lot of people say there's going to be. Is it a quarter point? Is it a half point? So we shall see. So without further ado, guys, let's get into the charts. If you find this information useful, please like, subscribe, follow, but share it to others. All right, starting out with the indices like I normally do, the Nasdaq. Remember, this is the tech-heavy stock. Um, I'm sorry, the tech-heavy indice or index. Remember, I predicted that the 30,000 to 31,000 would be my predicted top. In May of 2026, you can go back and watch the videos and look, right now it is. And actually, we're starting to form a double top. And I want to show you something really interesting in the technicals. A double top looks like the letter M, which provides these two peaks. And then we have a neckline. This is right here is known as the neckline. And what happens if it is a double top, that is a selling signal if the neckline breaks. And look where the neckline is, guys. My price target that I talked about, which is the anchored VWAP from this entire run. Now, I'm not saying that should be strong support. So we might get support and come out of it. But folks, if that level breaks, this double top will be accelerated and we're going to head down probably into that level. So 26,000 if 28,000 breaks. So that's going to be a key level. We'll call it 28,400. We're going to have to keep an eye on that. So with that, what I've done to protect my portfolio and something you should consider, do your own due diligence, is you can place options or buy SQQQ. Now, buying this shorts the Nasdaq. So when the Nasdaq drops, this goes up, and you can see in this small duration of time. You don't want to hold this for a long time, right? But this goes up when the NAS drops. So I have began buying this to protect my overall portfolio. And you can see that this green line from my purchase, I've been buying. When I predicted this to be the top, I started buying. So my DCA, which is dollar cost average, is right here. So I'm just underwater just a hair, and I'm going to continue to add. I'm going to continue to add in that space. So that's one strategy you can do to protect your portfolio, which I've done, is buying SQQQ, which would short the NAS. All right, other indices. Let's look at SPX. So SPX, we actually gapped below the all-time high, which this is now resistance and is heading down. We did look at this, guys. Pretty strong buyback on Friday. That's a pretty good candle after cruise control selling. So we'll see what next week brings, but further downside on this, and this is the Fibonacci for the run, which measures the whole movement. I really believe that at some point we're going to see 7,000 again. We have not strongly tested it. So you're hearing it here live, guys. You can watch a recording. I can't make this up because once it's out there in YouTube land, anybody can go back and say, well, Alpha, you were wrong. Well, I'm telling you right now, I think we see 7,000. Is it this next week? No, but we will see 7,000 again. The Russell 2000 is the only indice that looks like it's continuing in a strong channel. This is your small caps, right? It's still upward. We closed and held the all-time high all week, guys. Here, so your small caps are doing well. Really, a sell-off wouldn't continue, would not start until we close below that for further downside. So right now, it's looking resilient, although you can see the out of the entire week, Friday's volume was the highest and it was sell side. So we'll see what Monday brings. Bitcoin, because I told you so. Remember when it bounced off of my buy zone at 58 to 60 or 59 to 60,000, ran back up, and I said, you got to get out because it's going to come back down. And look what it did. And now it bounced again off that zone, but we had deeper penetration. So this is a lower look. Here's your low. Here's a lower low and a lower low. We're going to head down. The crypto experts that I know and follow all say 50,000, 48 to 50,000 cycle low in October. Now, listen, guys, you can find me on the internet, on Instagram and YouTube at Student Alpha, where I do a 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time live for 20 minutes for the entire trading community for free. I go over my trade plan for the day and then answer your questions. But interestingly enough, since we're talking about crypto, I am now live at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time over at Alpha Beta Reports Instagram with Crypto John, who's also a certified research analyst like me. There's not many of us worldwide, but you're going to have two of us at the same time for 30 minutes and we're answering your question. Alpha Beta Report Instagram. Go like, subscribe, and follow. You'll get the alerts, and you can come and ask all your questions. We talk about much more than Bitcoin, but he's a crypto expert. So I want to adding to the report, guys, Ethereum, because I like Ethereum. I don't own any Bitcoin, right? Um, I own a lot of Ethereum because Ethereum has very strong use case. But I want you to notice I've set two alerts. Got an alert here at about 1350 because I want to see as price drops in to off this previous low back in the tariff low. If that breaks, that alert will set, and then 1,000. Um, Probably chances are we're going to see 1,000, maybe even catch a wick lower than that for the cycle low, and I'll be buying down there like crazy, guys. Um, I'm a long time investor. I mean, I bought Ethereum when it was $176, right? So I'm going to be looking to buy more of this here because in the top of the next cycle, it's probably going to hit $8,000 to $10,000. That's not me saying it. That's what cycle harmonics and crypto experts are saying. So I'm a buyer as soon as we break 1,000. And I've set this alert because really this is also a soft buy zone. I bought the last time I bought this, guys, was right here. After it hit this drop, bounced, and I bought it right in here. I got it in there about $1,400 and some change, and I bought a lot. I bought a big amount. And then it ran up, and then it ran up, and then it ran up, and I didn't sell it because I'm going to hold it till it hits 10,000, and then I'll sell it. And of course, it's pulling back down at, at or near my entry point where I'll just keep accumulating, kind of like I do with silver. All right. So that is Ethereum. We're going to keep an eye on this. And guys, now that it's on my report, we will price monitor for you. If you have questions, hit me in the comments. Let's look at oil, WTI. Um, we're just downtrending with the escalation or de-escalation. So escalation of peace and de-escalation of war. And guys, look, it's no surprise that it found support right here in this box that we drew out a couple weeks ago from this gap. And this was the war shock gap right there. And now we're in it. And again, I don't think we break this gap until this is absolutely done. Matter of fact, I'm even on record saying we probably don't hit these pre-war lows for a while with supply chain issues and stuff going on. The price is probably going to stay in here. Now, I'm not saying buy off this box, but my guess is that price stabilizes in here. Then any uncertainty, we fight over the Strait of Hormuz or military action, guys, we're going to go straight back to that all-time high anchored VWAP at 84. So listen to the news cycle. If military action occurs, then if you can take a quick long, that would be your target, the $84 amount. So um, if you're in one of the groups that I support, we'll be on top of it, folks. So if you're not in one of my groups and you're watching my YouTube, reach out to me. I'll get you in one. I'm a research analyst hitman for a lot of trading firms, guys. So help you find one that fits for you, right? Google just keeps falling. And guys, an amazing thing on this chart, not a good thing if you're a long-term investor, is look at this. That volume right there. Look at that volume spike. Now watch me scroll back. There is no volume like that until you get back to September 2025. So that is a significant sell side volume on Friday. So if this, I would anticipate that that be a gas pedal and it may head down to this 300 to 310 range that we talked about before. So if Google gets down there by the end of the week, we'll talk about it next week about setting up a buy. But for now, stay out of its way. Microsoft. Remember I said stay out of Microsoft, let it find support? Well, look, you see market structure support that I drew in this green box. Here was a top, here was a bottom. And now look, it's not by accident that there it is. And if you remember, I brought in the point of control and showed it to you. Um, when I did it last week, it was a little bit lower um, on the pricing. But look at this high volume buy off of market structure. where buyers always show up. This is actually um, a good look for Microsoft considering that it's been in a downtrend, right? And we are in a bearish cycle with the death cross. Now, will this continue up with the market selling off? Probably not, but that is a really good look. So what I want you to see is when you find support, a support level you like we drew this one out, this is exactly what you want to see for a buy signal, right? So if you identify that as support as a trade plan, you want another candle to kind of close in there with volume, but that is exactly how you identify support and resistance, and then what you want candles and volume to look like. A nice strong bounce with high volume. So that tells you you've hit a buy side liquidity pool. You can then buy in or around that area and put your stop loss just below it. Although, if you want a greater discount, it probably is below. If you have questions about that, reach out, comment below, and we'll get it answered for you. BBAI, guys, is falling through this $3 zone. Remember, I said that I'm sorry, $4 zone, and you could have a stop loss of $1 if you're interested in BBAI. I'm actually interested in this lower zone down here around 250. We've talked about for a couple of weeks, but if you're in this trade plan, you are still in it. You could either exit or add here to run back up, and then that all-time high anchored VWAP is at 563. So right now I'm price monitoring it because I'm really interested in this level. I know so many of you guys were wanting to buy in this range, which is still in. And you're depending on if you bought high $3 to $4, you're in drawdown. But guys, that happens a lot on my trades too, right? It's very difficult to hit a sniper entry where you grab the low and it goes. So, um, as long as the markets hold, you have support right here structurally at 301. So your stop loss will be just outside that. And guys, if you eat $1 here, right, you buy it later and it runs to $10, you net 9, right? That's how trading works. QBTS, guys, has failed the all-time high anchored VWAP. Right here, the red line. So the next trade plan, and we had this trade plan over here where we bought off the IPO anchor VWAP, ran it to the all-time high anchor VWAP, paid perfectly, right? I called that months ago, about 2 months ago, and that trade plan may come in again. Although we had a death cross and a golden cross at about the same price level at $20.50. So it might weave in and form this channel here. But if we can get price to tap us in at 14 to $15 on a discount, that would be good because QBTS has gotten a lot of United States government contracts. So keep an eye on us. We are in, believe it or not, even though we're selling off, we are still within the Golden Cross buying period. So let me know if you're in this and if you have a price, if you're concerned. I mean, long-term investors could be in here with a stop loss below this level. Also, if $6 to $8 is not too much risk for you because you see this going back to 50, 75, or $100, right? Let me know. Anytime you get into a trade plan, if you need help, reach out. That's why I'm here, folks. IonQ. IonQ, guys, we're still within the threshold of the buy zone off our all-time high anchored VWAP. We called this buy, it paid. We called this buy, it paid about 50%. You could have got break even. You might have gotten kicked out here at break even, then you just wait for a lower price. But right now, this trade plan off the all-time high anchored VWAP is still active. We get some buy side coming back in. This trade plan would still be in the money. But Friday's sell-off, look right here, sold down strongly with tech, right? So that's a kind of concerning volume level. If you bought in around this price and you don't like kind of how the direction of all the markets are going right now, then consider exiting at break even and seeing if you can get a better price down here off this IPO anchored VWAP, or exit, let it recross this for a better confirmation, right? If you just don't feel right about it, then pull your money off the table, right? At break even or a little bit into money. Again, if you need help, I can't make the decision for you, but I can certainly give you my input. Just reach out, guys. QUBT is not a buy yet. We're still targeting this lower zone down here where the market structure exists, somewhere between 440 588 and maybe 619, kind of like this $1.40 threshold. We almost had a golden cross here. It's rejecting it and selling down, so we might see these levels for a discount. We're going to price monitor. Don't do anything with it right now, but if we get that signal, we'll let you know. Quadruple U is selling down. Remember, we talked about this market structure right here where buyers jumped in between 12 and $13. I think that's the next buy because if we buy, say, at somewhere between 12 and $13, we can set that stop loss at like 11.75. 1150, whatever's comfortable to you and your risk, and then target that all-time high anchored VWAP, if not higher. So there is a trade plan that we're keeping an eye on in quadruple U. The concerning thing is if this zone does not hold, what happens? You guys see it? The purple line crosses the burgundy line, which would be a death cross. But if price comes down, holds here and bounces, this EMA would also bounce. So it would kind of look like that, right? So we would avert a death cross, right? So this is going to be a critical area for it to find support, which I find tradable. OCLO right now is being rejected by the all-time high. Or, I'm sorry, I said all-time high, is being rejected by the IPO anchored VWAP. I think the next zone down is this gap in this market support. So we're going to keep an eye on and let's set an alert to front run it just if $45 breaks. I think it's going to be an interesting buy between, in the low to mid 40s and then run that back to the all-time high anchored VWAP. And then since we've passed this zone, this would be now resistance. So before we get to the all-time high, we would have to endure some potential rejection here. So we're going to see what happens. We are in a death cross or selling period in OCLO, but it's nuclear. And you like to think during Trump administration and the AI push for power that nuclear will ultimately pay. And is it true, guys, that in 5, 10 years we'll be laughing when this thing's running at $600? I don't know. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. IRIN has failed the all-time high anchored VWAP. If you bought that trade, well, if you're looking to buy that trade plan, you never got confirmation here, guys, right? So what you want to see is that the bounce. Remember what I showed you in the other chart? You want to see that high volume bounce, and the higher volume bounce is right here. So I would wait for it to recross this level. This is a good sign that it's trying to find support. There is a little bit of a gap here, which is providing that support. This box should be red, right? Or I'm sorry, this shouldn't be red. It should be green, where it's finding support. But there's the all-time high anchored VWAP. So I think it's safer to wait for it to cross there if you're not in this. If you're in it, I would get your stop loss like $43 right now, or stretch a little bit to get below this market structure at 42, right? If you bought this way down here, start locking it in, folks. Start locking it in. If you need help, reach out. You know where to find me. All right, let's get into metals, guys. Let's start with gold. So gold, remember I said that 4,000. So here are my predictions. Um, if 4,000 broke, we're going to definitely see this consolidation zone between 3,300 and 3,500, where we sat for months and months and months. I mean, almost half a year, right? And matter of fact, if I think this is the one, if I bring up the point of control, it's sitting right at, yep, look, the point of control is that white line, the highest volume and the median price. There's so much support there. So if we get a rate hike, that's where we're headed. This is recorded. You heard me say it. We get a rate hike, that's exactly where price is going. But as of right now, it's heading back up. All right. Short term. Matter of fact, what I said is I didn't see 4,000 breaking its first attempt, right? And it didn't. And matter of fact, I set up a trade plan for all those that follow me, and I put it in a group like Driving Markets for you guys, right? Love you guys. So here's what I called for everybody. I said buy 4,000 to 4,015, stop loss at 39.50, take profit at 4,200, and we'll trail it. So you can see this is 500 lots in the underlier, which is equivalent to five gold contracts, and right now we're up $38,000 in profit. Now, commiserate with that, and I held this for this report that I said that when you get above 85 and it closed to 87, we go to break even. So watch, we grab the take or the stop loss. We're going to move to break even. So right now, I have no risk in this trade. See that? How that works? That's how you do it. Now we're going to trail it. I do know that it's going to hit resistance in and around this 4,100 and make a decision, right? If it breaks up out, we're going to move that stop loss just underneath it, right? Just underneath it, like 40.85. If it breaks down sharply, I get kicked out at break even. I don't know why this is misbehaving, maybe because the markets aren't running. I get kicked out at break even, but probably on open, I'll get up here below this critical anchored VWAP here and lock in 40 points. And of course, since I called this for my group, I'm going to tell you when I move it. And I've already told you go break even right now. There should be no risk in this trade. But look, we're up $38,000. How are you doing with it? Did you get the call? Let me know how you're doing in chat, guys. And I did say more than likely we'll hit our trail stop before we hit our take profit. The take profit set at about $95,000 up here. Pretty good for hanging out with Student Alpha. All right. So commensurate with that, the miners should benefit here temporarily. This buy zone off this anchored VWAP and running back up to this all-time high anchored VWAP is going to be the range right now. But if we get a rate cut, it's going to drop, probably near the IPO anchored VWAP at 22. So you want to monitor that and make sure you have a stop loss in so that you can get out either break even or with a little bit of profit and then rebuy down here. Same thing with HYMC, right? If it drops, this gap right here provides support. So we have a trade plan somewhere in there, like that gap is 16.54 to $20. So somewhere in the middle of that, and then a stop loss just below it might be an opportunity to purchase HYMC, um, especially if gold drops. If gold rises, you can see that we're very bullish right here. There's the 50 and the 200. It would have to drop strongly to create a death cross. So this might be a discount here. But, let's demand a little bit more of a discount and try to get it into that zone. If you already own it, if I talk about one that you already own and you need help with a trade plan or a stop loss, reach out. Reach out. Silver, guys, I want to look. Remember me saying the buy zone was 54 to 56 with kind of the median price being 55. Do you guys remember me saying that? Let's see how low it dropped. Why this week it dropped down to 55.67 and then bounced $4, bounced almost like 8% off of that. So I like this as the buy zone, especially if we tap it again and then run it to the all-time high anchored VWAP. Congratulations on this drop, guys. I told my group, guys, stay out of it. Buy down here. And a few people had entered right at $55 or had entries set right at $55, which haven't triggered just yet. Right. So, but remember the buy zone was 54 to 57 because it's a zone, guys. It's hard to hit the exact price. So there's a chance we might see 55, but I like that as a buy zone. You can see buy zone 54 to $56. And yes, I'll buy more physical silver. I won't trade silver itself, but I will buy more physical silver. Trying to get a hold of some this weekend. As a matter of fact, at these prices, I love it. I can get almost twice as much as I paid recently, but I've paid as little as $10 per ounce also. Platinum, the next zone to look for, guys, is 1,500 to 1,600, which is really key because 1,500 is especially key. And then the consolidation zone here up as high as 1,600 would be a great buy in platinum, but I want look, see my arrows pointing? Look what's happening. The 50 is about to cross the 200. If we break through 1500, we're gonna have a death cross, and then down she goes, probably 1200. So we're at a critical zone there. So if you buy in around 1500, we want a tighter stop loss, probably 25 to 50 points, depending on your tolerance, and then see if we can run it up further. But of course, before you hit the TP, you might catch a trail on the way up, because if this death cross occurs and this zone breaks, guys, we're going to 1200, right? We're going to 1200. So keep an eye on it. XPD, similar. So Palladium, but look, it already gave the death cross. Because that happened, guys, I'm waiting for $1,000 down here to hit. We have market structure support at about 1075, but we're gonna, a matter of fact, I will set an alert as we're sitting here at 1100 or close to it. Kind of hard to get it exactly. Um, So when that breaks, I'm going to keep an eye on it at 1,000. So right now, Palladium, stay out of the way, guys. Stay out of the way. But if we get down to that zone, it's going to be an attractive buy, because you see it did it before, set an all-time high, pulled back and set the second highest it's been, and pulled back. We might get that same support. And it's really that 900 to 1,000 zone. So we get down there, it's going to be pretty attractive for Palladium. But right now, let it fall, folks. It's not too far, about 200 points, about 20% more. Copper. I talked about copper being in an upward trend. It failed the all-time high anchored VWAP pretty strongly this week, and then rebounded into this green zone I drew out. Remember, this is a regression trend line, two standard deviations. So right now, this 5% anomaly is either a new trend, which would look like this, right? Pretty steep Gann angle. I don't think that's going to happen. Or it's got a 95% chance of getting back onto trend, which I believe. So I told everybody that followed me in my live Zoom meetings to buy $6, and look, now we're up. And I still think that that's the buy zone. If for some reason something crazy happens, I like 570 down here. Another thing one of the macro experts that I follow talks about is that copper is kind of the global health indicator. As copper rises, the global market rises. As copper falls, the global markets fall. So take it for what it is. If we start to downtrend here, maybe that means bad things for the global market. But as of right now, $6 is your support. If you own it long term, get your stop loss in there. Get your stop loss in there. Palantir just keeps falling. Does that hurt anybody's feelings? I don't like Palantir as a company. I don't like what they do. I don't like um, I think they're evil. Don't like the leadership. The more I talk about it, the more I think maybe I need to pull them off the report. What do you think, chat? Let me know down there. But next support zone, let it fall, is $100, because see this gap between 85 and 99 is going to provide support. So let it get down there, and then we'll talk about it again in the next weekend update, guys. As of right now, don't do anything. But as we round out this report, let's talk about great things. Look at Lynn. I talked about this, what, 2 months ago, a month ago, 6 weeks ago, guys? To buy this, it's a dividend payer. It's still running a bit sideways. You're a little bit in the money, but you don't mind because you're making that dividend, right? That buy zone I called was, 84 to 86, and now you're at 93. Congratulations. You have unrealized profits in dividends, and I think this one has the potential to make you 50% on the money. Len, Len. The newest one I gave you. Look at this, guys. Since I called it, it's been up and down, running in this channel. And we don't, guys, when you own something that pays you a dividend, you you don't looking for the dividend. You do not mind um, it running sideways, because if it runs sideways, you still make your dividend, right? So keep an eye on the Kraft company. It's at around the buy zone. And you can see if this purple line recrosses that burgundy line, we'll have a golden cross, which is an institutional buy signal where a lot of buyers come in. So KHC, do your own due diligence, but I like this one on this pricing. You want more details on it, go watch the previous 2 weeks video on it. SOUN, I said, was the aggressive AI play. If you like the AI play here, you could have bought in around $7 with a stop loss just below this pivot low. Like we said, like 560, give yourself some room. And if you bought it, you're in drawdown right now. But remember, I said this was a fundamental buy with a technical entry that was very aggressive because we're nearing a bottom. We are in a selling period that if we can find support here, you can front run that golden cross, right? But the important part here is to make sure you honor your stop loss. So in case this thing falls flat on its face, so it's a higher risk trade, but there's a high reward if it corrects itself. Finally, I want to talk about SpaceX because I told you so. What did I say this thing would do? So it's going to launch and then fall flat on its face. Now, the one thing it's done that I didn't predict is it's holding its IPO price. That's not going to be very much longer, guys. This thing's going to drop below IPO price. You mark my words. I said it here. I told you. I warned you. I said, stay out of it. If you didn't heed my advice, that's fine. You can do your own due diligence, but I don't like this company. I don't like it, folks. I've just seen too many of these IPOs do this, and then the empty fundamentals behind this company. In 10 years, my comments now will be proven wrong, but as of right now, stay out of it. We don't buy this company for a while, and when it's time to buy it, I'm going to let you know because that's why I exist here in the trading community to help you, right? And if you've made it this long with the video, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch it. Please like, subscribe, and follow. You can find me at Student Alpha on Instagram and my YouTube channel where I go live. And then any of the channels that I support and the trading communities that I'm a research analyst for, if you're in that group and you need help, you know how to reach me. So until next time, folks, have a good trading week.